Let's taste some sunlit summer sippers. Hi, I'm Carolyn Evans-Hammond and welcome to my tasting room. Carolyn's tasting room is where you can taste exciting wines with me. And tonight we taste some sunlit summer sippers. They include the 2023 JP Azeitao Syrah Rosé from Portugal, the 2022 Bread and Butter Rosé from California, and the 2023 Alianca Vinho Verde DOC from Portugal. So let's taste. So the first wine in our flight is a brilliant, always delicious wine. It's from Portugal. It's from a larger producer called Bacalhoa in Portugal. And the wine is a 2023 Azeitao Syrah Rosé. So it's JP Azeitao. It's a wine to know because I think it's great year in, year out. So pour yourself a glass and notice first the color. Notice it's a pale hue, which is classic for, restrained styles of rosé, which we've got here, but it's also shiny bright. Shiny bright and clear is an important indication of quality. It's the first thing you look for when you pour yourself a glass. Now, we'll give it a swirl, get the aromatics into the bowl of the glass, and then give it a sniff. So the first thing we're looking for is clean. Is it clean? Does it smell like fresh primary fruit? Yes, it does. I hope yours does too. Mine smells perfect. It smells a little bit like cherries, hint of pear, but the fragrance is not too forward. There's a restraint here, which is classic for European styles of rosé, especially from places like Portugal. So now we're going to have a sip. Let it sort of stream in and just experience the wine first before we get technical. Do you like that? I do. It's lip smacking, it's mouth watering. It's everything you want in the summertime when you want to, chill something down and cool off outside, whether it's at the patio, on the dock, in the hammock, it doesn't matter. Love it. So now we're going to taste it technically. So have a sip and we're going to let it stream in and we're going to focus at the sides of the palate to see how high the acid is. Make your mouth water? Certainly makes mine water. That is the acidity. Best felt at the sides of the palate. The more your mouth waters, the higher the acidity. So here we've got wonderful zippy acidity, which is so important because it amps up the quench factor. It also scrapes the palate clean, leaving the palate clean and fresh, perfect at the table. You don't want something to cloy. Now this wine actually has a little bit of residual sugar, something to the tune of around 5 grams per liter or something, just enough to polish up that fruit so it doesn't taste too angular or shrill, but it's still wonderfully refreshing. And I love that. That balance is a mark of quality. Now have another sip and we're going to see how the flavors express themselves, which is really important because when you're pairing this at the table, you want to know what it's saying to you so that you can match those flavors with what you have, on the menu. So let's have a sip. It's restrained, isn't it? Sort of delicate, but it goes in bright. Then as it arcs and recedes, the flavors come to the fore. Do you notice that? I'm getting pear and cherry, sort of sour cherry as well as sweet cherry. And I love that because even though it's restrained, it's very articulate, and that chiseled flavor makes me want to pour it with some things like, duck or poultry. I would love this with barbecued or grilled poultry, simply prepared, maybe with some salt and pepper. And it leaves the palate. Do you notice that your palate is left with a little sifting of sea salt? Fantastic. See, I think this is a great buy at around $11 in Canada and around $7 in the US. So one to keep in mind for the season. And the second wine in our flight is from sunny California. It's Bread and Butter Rosé. Now this is an interesting little wine because it's a blend of Barbera, Grenache, and Muscat. So lots going on. When there's a blend, each grape variety contributes its own taste profile. The result is complexity, which is why I think there's value for money here. So pour yourself a glass and let's take a look at the color. First, notice the color. It's a little bit deeper than the first wine. Notice that. And yes, it's clear and bright. Exactly what we want to see. So let's give it a swirl and get the aromatics up into the bowl of the glass and a sniff. Doesn't that smell great? I mean, it's very aromatic, isn't it? Lots going on too. What do you get? I get sort of a hint of watermelon, definitely strawberry, like wild strawberries that you've just plucked from the field. Hints of hibiscus, a little herbal, a little floral, hints of violet maybe, tangerine. So lots going on, and that complexity is a mark of quality, and I really like that. Because, you know, rosé can be quite a cerebral wine, and I think this is one of those. Now, this wine costs around $19 in Canada and around, I think, $15 or $16 in the US. So I think there's value for money, but that complexity is why, you know, why it's a more premium wine. Let's have a taste and let's see what it says to us. Do you notice how immediately it's more forward, it's more juicy than the first wine, making it the kind of wine you can enjoy cocktail style? You know, chill it down, have it in the afternoon. You don't need to eat anything with it if you don't want to. But of course, it works well with salty snacks. And one of the reasons it works so well with salty snacks is because, do you notice there's a kiss of sweetness there? That kiss of sweetness sort of rounds out the palate and makes it friendly with really salty food, or cocktail style, it works really well. So that's important to know. Also, notice your palate is scraped clean. It doesn't cloy, the sweetness doesn't linger, and that means there's enough acidity to balance the sweetness, making it finish, clean, and dry. Another mark of quality. Another thing I like about this wine is it actually comes in a smaller format too, and the quality isn't compromised. Sometimes wines in cans can be terrible. This wine works. It's really fabulous. I really like it. And actually, it comes in this cute can, which I love. You can, you know, put a few of these in a bucket of ice and serve them at a barbecue. Fun, right? So let's go back to the tasting and have a sip and see how it expresses itself on the palate. We found lots on the nose. Let's see if that's echoing on the palate. I love the texture. Initially, it goes in shiny, bright, crisp, but, you know, round. And then as it arcs and cascades, the flavors fan out. I really like that. So I'm getting cherry, I'm getting berry, like strawberry. And then as that recedes, the more savory nuances come to the fore, the more floral notes, and hibiscus is there again. And I like that. And it finishes a little bit. It's a little bit of white pepper or something, which I find very fetching too. It's the kind of wine I would love to have in the afternoon with a handful of plain salted potato chips. And the third wine in our flight is white. It's the 2023 Alianca Vinho Verde DOC from Portugal. Now, Vinho Verde is a style of wine that many people love because it's bright, fresh, juicy, and it often has a little bit of effervescence, making it a great cocktail style wine. So pour yourself a glass and you'll notice first the little bits of bubbles threading through the center. That's the effervescence. It's not, it's not sparkling, but there's a little bit of spritz, and that adds quench. Love that. It's clear and bright, pretty straw hue. And on the nose, let's give it a swirl. Very aromatic, isn't it? So lime, apricot. I get a little bit of elderflower. Do you get that? And I like that. Again, cocktail style. So let's have a sip. The effervescence is immediately evident. Lots of primary fruit here. It's refreshing, it's balanced, it's pure, and I love that because it's a kind of wine you don't have to think too much about. You just enjoy it. There's a hedonism here, which is great. And it's also, really affordable. This is a wine that sells for around, I think it sells for less than $11 in Canada and about $8 in the US. So it's affordable, great wine for great value for money, and also versatile at the table. So the lime, a little bit of almost, there's almost a little bit of herbaceousness too, which I like because it seasons the palate and pairs with all sorts of things that you want to serve. But if you're having it on its own, it's also fantastic with just a handful of nuts. And the reason is all of that sweet fruit marries beautifully with the savory crunch and the toastiness of, you know, a handful of roasted almonds or something like that. And I love that. This is also low in alcohol. I think it has around 10% alcohol, and it has about 16 grams per liter of sugar, but you don't notice it because it doesn't come across as sweet, does it? Have a sip. And the fruit is also very sheer. But it doesn't come across as sweet because the tension between the high acidity and the little bit of sugar is in perfect balance, like a good glass of lemonade, you know? This is actually a great porch swing style wine, and it's great to know about all summer long. That is value. So there you have it, 3 sunlit summer sippers to set you up. Which one did you like best? Let me know. Hit me up on social, and don't forget to like and subscribe because I'm coming right back with another flight of delicious wines, spirits, and other drinks here on Carolyn's Tasting Room so you can drink better and learn how.